for Thomas Hobbes, the emphasis here is on absolutism, to put it simply. Hobbes is providing an alternative to democracy, but for reasons you might be a little bit surprised by. Now, democracy we typically associate with representing people in politics, whereas for Thomas Hobbes, if we want to achieve a truly universal representation of the people, where everyone is involved in governance, then absolutism is the answer, not democracy, which is a very interesting theory, which sounds quite controversial. So let's dissect that a bit. Hobbes was a 17th century English philosopher. He's a very salient philosopher, so his views give rise to a number of sort of usher in a new period of liberal thinking, which is often considered what we might call ahead of his time. And he argues that for the best form of politics in a society, we have one individual ruler, whether this be a king or a monarch. Why is this? Well, individuals without politics, without society, live in what he calls a state of nature. And this is full of anarchy. This is a horrendous place to live. There's no organization. This is a complete free-for-all. Therefore, we choose to cede our individual judgment, our individual rights to a ruler. We hand these over to a ruler. But actually, we're not really handing them over. What we're doing is pooling them and putting them together. We're alongside everyone else in the society who's doing the same thing. We are putting these individual rights together to form one giant collective right, which Hobbes calls the will of the people, the collective sovereign, which is the title of the book, the Leviathan, as he calls it. And this collective sovereign, this collective person, acts on behalf of the people, so to defend their property, their rights, their liberties. And all of those acts aren't just representing the people, they are actually the people's views all together at once. So he's representing the interests of everybody in society at large. So everyone who is subscribed to the system is having their views directly exercised in government. And this is Hobbes' reasoning, at least. And they do this through what he calls a social contract. Therefore, everyone is involved. And when we come back to our question, does winning a free and fair election automatically confer a mandate for governing? No, for Hobbes, because actually a democracy is only representing part of the view. This is one of the things we established at the outset in this essay topic. Democracy is limited by how it is only comprised of the majority, which might be 50.1%, leaving the rest of society at large not properly represented. In Hobbes' view, everyone is represented because in order to participate in the system, you have to cede your views to the monarch, the ruler. This may seem a flawed argument, many have criticised it. However, it's also a basis for understanding that democracy isn't the only way our views can be represented. Letting the rulers use their decision-making prerogatives and judgment on behalf of our own judgment actually allows us, as an alternative to democracy, to have our views vented, whilst also being more protected. So this doesn't have the issues of democratic disagreement. It doesn't have the issues of partial representation in democracy. Actually, everyone's being represented here, and the monarch is able to wield very strong authority in things like foreign policy. It can streamline the decision-making process.